Hey Gav, what's on the TEFL agenda this week?
Hey Em, you kick us off by asking about the first 5 minutes of a lesson.
Then we're tackling the fact of being stuck inside, when you'd much rather be outside.
Plus having the freedom to teach almost anything in our lessons.
And we're recalling a couple of lessons we cooked up on the fly.
I'm also quizzing you on your most visited websites for teaching.
And to wrap it all up, I'll teach you a seriously funny idiom.
That's right, now teachers and learners wherever you are, get comfy.
Grab your favourite beverage and snack.
It's time for another episode of Gav and Em's How to English Pod.
Welcome everybody, this is How to English, Teach and Learn with Gav and Em.
It's a podcast about teaching and learning English as a foreign language.
All opinions stated are personal and references will be given when necessary.
TEFL, TEFL time is here.
Yay!
Em, are you ready for some TEFLing around? I'll be the organ grinder and you can be the monkey.
Not sure about those roles, but yes, I am all set to proceed, Captain.
I've got some topics for us today, so hopefully the followers, being TEFL teachers themselves or possibly learners, might be quite interested in some of the things we'd like to talk about today. Em, have you also got a list of topics for us?
Yes, I've got a long list of things to chat to you about, all TEFL related, because that's what we're here for. We're going to discuss TEFL, teaching, learning, everything related to TEFL. T is for teaching, E is for English, F is for foreign, and L is for language.
Now, I am prepped, and I'm sure the followers are too. Would you like to kick off this episode, Em? Episode 8, Season 7.
Yeah, I will start with how to start. Gav, lately I've been thinking about how you start your lesson. I've talked about what you do before the lesson, after the lesson. How do you start? First 5 minutes. Talk me through it.
I wait for the students to... Well, actually, I joined before the students.
How soon before the lesson? Okay, lesson starts at 9 a.m. What time are you there in the lesson?
I click the start button on Teams around 15 seconds before the class starts.
So this is an online lesson. Oh, you're actually 8:59 in the lesson.
8:59 and 45 seconds. I have joined...
Interesting.
I have in the past joined even earlier, but then found my students' knuckles are rapping at the door and asking for entry.
They see you there and they think that's a sign they can join.
They do think that, and I ignore them until the clock strikes 9.
Yeah, see, I start at 9. If the lesson is at 9, I join on the stroke of 9. But maybe it's good to start a tiny bit earlier, so the students get that full 90 minutes or 60-minute lesson.
That's right. If you start slightly earlier, then the students can start on time, and then they haven't wasted a second of their time.
And all this also corresponds to being in a classroom physically, that you may not want to open your door or put the blinds up. You might want to show the students that you're busy. So
or raise your head.
Yeah, subtle things even like that. Just so that students wait until you're ready and don't just walk in and start chatting to you.
That's it. You might still be writing on the board and you have your back to the class, and that's an indication to them to say, I'm not ready. You sit down, get comfortable, natter if you like, as long as it's in English. And the moment I turn around, the class will begin and you will have my full attention. Or is it vice versa?
Both, I'd say. But that does remind me of times when I've been writing on the board in a classroom and students have come in to talk to me. And I've been trying to write on the board, I don't know, the form for present perfect. And I've managed to write have, has, plus, how are you today, plus past participle. And then I've stepped back and thought, that doesn't look right. Need to focus, really. You want to get your board work right before you start.
That's absolutely true. So, students, if you're listening, give us a second to set up and prepare and make sure you're on time to start when it's time.
Okay, your students are all sitting there then, eagerly waiting for you to pirouette on the spot and start the lesson. What do you do then? How do you begin?
I say good morning or good afternoon or good evening, depending on the time of day. I cast my eyes around the classroom to see who's there and who's not there. I might have the register in hand. Are we talking online now?
Let's go back to online because that's what you're familiar with. Yes. You've got your register on a different page, I assume. You can see who should be there.
Yes, I might open the app that shows me who should be in the classroom on my computer as I scan the classroom or the Teams screen.
And then I guess you start with, how are you?
I typically do. How are you? How's it going? What's up? What's new? Tell me about your day. How's your morning?
And how do you decide who you ask first?
I always ask the first student who joined.
I do that too. I ask them in the order that they arrive.
That's exactly what I do, Em. What a coincidence. And then I ask the subsequent student joiner. And then I ask the next student who joined, how are you? And then I continue around the classroom.
Do you find they always turn up in the same order, though?
No.
Well, that's good. It can get a bit monotonous if it's always the same people at the same time, and they kind of know their order, don't they?
I do not sense this monotony, ever. I don't know why you keep using this word about things being the same every time. For me, every class is a brand new experience.
Oh, I like that. That's great.
It's like I've never seen them before. I don't even know who they are. How are you? Tell me about yourself. What's your job again?
And you've been teaching them for 5 years.
Yes.
Well, I feel a little bit averse to monotony. I don't know. I just think from a student's point of view, I really don't want them to get bored. And I think that if you ask the same student in the same order, the same question every single time you see them, everyone's going to get bored of that.
Really?
My opinion. It's only an opinion.
You might only see them once a week. How could they get bored hearing the same question once a week?
Well, maybe because I see other people all the time and I ask that question all the time, every day.
Well, that's on you, Em.
But that's why I feel I have to change it up sometimes, for my own sake.
Shall I give you a little tip on how to mix it up?
I would love a tip on how to mix it up.
Ask the first student who joins, once you've got the other students there, to ask how the other students are doing.
Genius. Something so simple, but absolutely. You can just sit back and enjoy the show.
Although that may require you sitting there for 2 minutes until the class is full. In silence.
If you decide to wait and make it very methodical. But I think, yeah, just relax with it and say, okay, you keep going because this is a skill they need in life and you don't have to be the, what was it you said, circus master? You don't have to be that.
I'm the organ grinder.
The organ grinder, that was it. Organ grinder.
Did you just click your fingers
I
at me?
did. Bingo, you got it. Yeah. But you don't have to be the organ grinder. You could just be one of the monkeys.
I am a monkey.
Sometimes.
And my students should take responsibility and take control. It's their class. I keep telling them, Em, it's your class, it's your course. You decide what happens. It's up to you.
I like it. That's great. That would definitely cut through the monotony, in my opinion. And you can do that with every class. You could even do that every week. You don't even have to say anything in the end. You just look at them and they go, oh, yeah, how are you today, student 2?
As long as you don't ask the same student every week to welcome all of the other students, because that would be monotony.
And they would become the organ grinder. And then you're just shifting the role. See what I mean? It's important to keep up with this. And pay attention. And not just say, how are you? Say, how's it going? What's up? What's new with you today? Just so students get familiar with different ways to ask the same question. As we know, there are lots of ways to say it in English.
These are all very good ideas, Em. Thanks for sharing them. Is that how your first 5 minutes happens?
Yeah, pretty much. Same kind of order. I definitely ask them as they arrive. That's also the time that I tell students if there's any holidays coming up or if they're having a holiday or maybe I'm going to take a day off or that there's a test coming.
You tell them if they're having a holiday?
Well, if there's a national holiday coming, sometimes they don't always remember. So you have to say, oh yeah, do you know there's a holiday this week? Are you going to be here? Or are you going somewhere? You might have to tell them there's a test coming and do a bit of admin at the beginning of the lesson. Yeah, otherwise I think we're pretty much on the same page there.
I think we are.
And then you launch into your fabulous lesson after that. But that's the first 5 minutes.
5 minutes wrapped up.
What have you been thinking about lately, Gav?
Lately, Em, I've been wondering, what do you do when it's really nice outside, but you're sitting in a dark, cold room staring at a screen filled with people?
I remind myself that this is what I like doing for a living. This is an amazing job, and I'm lucky to have this opportunity. And it's not sunny very often in the UK, and really I should just be focusing on the fact that it's probably going to rain tomorrow, and I'll be looking out there thinking, I haven't got to go out. I can just work from home. What about you, Gav?
Pretty much the same, although I do look quite forlornly outside if it's nice and sunny, and think to myself, I don't half fancy being out frolicking around in the sunshine.
Maybe it's because the spring's here and you're feeling like you want to dust off your walking shoes, get rid of all those wintry cobwebs, and get some fresh air. I know that feeling, but to be honest, I'm a bit of a homebod, so I'm quite happy being at home. I quite like it.
Do you? I also quite like when it's absolutely hammering down with rain, torrential, and I think to myself, I would love to run around in that.
Yeah, see, I don't get that feeling. I'm not one of those people. I think there's songs about it, there's books written about it, poetry. I don't need to go out there in the rain and dance and enjoy that. I can just enjoy it from a nice cosy armchair.
But the armchair would get very wet.
I mean inside, not outside. Ha ha ha.
Well, I would quite like to enjoy the elements while they exist and while I exist.
Well, they exist. Okay, yes. But what I think you're getting at on a maybe deeper level is whatever we are doing, whatever our jobs, whatever situation we have chosen, or maybe the situation is chosen for us, whatever it is, we are fundamentally
stuck in a room,
tuned to
staring at a screen.
The fact that the grass is always greener, don't you think?
On the other side.
Yeah. Because, Gav, I think your pining for the outdoors may have been something you didn't feel when you were on trains, buses, public transport, actually going out every day teaching. Did you crave the comfort of your office space so you could teach online? Just click a button?
I don't recall walking past people in dark offices, staring at screens and thinking admiringly, I wish I had your job right now.
I did.
Fair enough.
Yeah, maybe it's only me. But I don't feel like that now. The grass is not greener now. I feel like I'm on the grassy side. I'm on the really green part of life. This is great. I've got more free time. I'm the captain of my own ship. I can do what I want when I want within limits, and I love this kind of lifestyle.
I'm very happy for you. Maybe some people are just not very content. Even when they've got everything.
That's also very true. I think you're right there. There are always people in the world that are looking for improvements, focusing on the things they don't have.
Navel gazing.
Yeah. And then there are people who are happy with the little they have. Speaking for myself, anyway.
Thanks for speaking for yourself, Em.
Well, I can't speak for anyone else, Gav.
And what have you been thinking about recently?
It sort of follows on from what you were saying, in a way, well, where we got to at the end of that conversation just
Nasal gazing. No.
Navel gazing.
Navel gazing.
I think there are days, obviously, everyone gets days where they think, this is hard, the job's difficult, maybe students aren't great, your timetable's very full, you've got a particularly hard grammar point to teach, you're just getting a bit bogged down with it all. But then I remind myself we can actually pretty much do whatever we want in the sphere of teaching. If you've got a page in a book that you have to teach, a syllabus that you have to follow, or you're free to do anything you want as a TEFL teacher, within that you can still be very creative and you can still make it interesting and do something that you may have never done before. Try something new. If you've got students that are willing to try things, and I do prefix a lot of things like that with, you're the first students to try this for me, so I hope it's going to be okay.
Is that really true, or you just say that anyway?
Sometimes they actually are the first students to try it.
I guess there's always a first.
Yeah, there actually is. But sometimes I think if I'm introducing something new to a class that may have been quite used to the same format every lesson, or they've had a different course with a different teacher and it was very book focused, sometimes I do say, yeah, we're going to try something different today, just to give them a bit of a warning. But I love that. I love that we can do anything, really. We can be so creative and try an amazing variety of techniques within our jobs. And it's endless, in my opinion.
You're absolutely right, Em. There is a lot of opportunity for creativity and spontaneity within our classes. For example, this week, my students said they wanted to do some emailing practice, so I got my go-to lesson ready in the background, which is all about reading emails, giving them subject titles, a little bit of language analysis. But before this, I thought, well, let's prep the students a little so they're in the mood for emailing, thinking about language.
Was this your lead-in?
It was my lead-in. I remembered to do a lead-in this time.
Always do a lead-in.
Not always, but sometimes it helps.
You should always do a lead-in, is what I was trying to say.
Then I asked my students, which types of emails do you send? Give me some examples. And I spontaneously opened a blank Word document, started listing the different emails that they send.
What would that have been? Like ordering something email or asking for information email? You just wrote down the sentence, like describing it.
Yes, the types of emails. And we came up with quite a few, actually. And then I thought, this is a really good list. Why bother going to my go-to lesson, which is all ready for me?
You didn't go to the go-to.
I didn't go to the go-to. I went to the new list, the new go-to.
The new go-to.
Which is a list of types of emails that my students were already familiar with, but I found out they don't typically write them in English.
Gav, this sounds like an opportunity. You had a list of descriptive sentences of all their different kinds of email. What did you do after that?
I said to the students, pick one. I want you to email me an example of one of these emails, please, in English.
In real time?
In real time.
All of them wrote an email to you directly?
Each student picked one type of email from the list and then emailed me.
Wow. They all chose a different one?
Yes.
Sorry.
Doesn't really matter if they'll choose the same one.
They can choose the same one if they want.
There were no rules. I just said, just choose one.
Okay, yeah. I need to be clear on this.
And then once I'd received all of their emails, we had a look at them together. We checked everything looked okay.
In your email browser?
Yes.
You just opened your email inbox and then said, thank you for that. I've received it. Let's have a look at it now.
Yes.
You didn't copy paste it into the Word document. You just...
No.
Okay.
I double-clicked the email so that it opened in its own window.
Oh, didn't know you could do that.
I pressed reply.
Aha.
Then I deleted the automated reply message and the RE : subject line, so it looked like the student's original email.
Yeah.
And then it was editable.
Of course.
So we highlighted a couple of little errors. There was some capital letters missing maybe at the beginning of the first sentence.
Always is.
Couple of typos, a little punctuation mistakes, maybe a couple of phrases that we could have improved on, which we did, and I elicited that from the students. Then we went through each of the emails. The students given me some input.
Did they read their email to you, or did you read it? How did you do that?
They read it to me, of course.
The person who'd written it read it. That's
yes.
Quite nice, yeah.
And then finally I said, now it's time for you to reply to one of these emails.
Ooh.
So I asked student A to send it to B, B to send theirs to C, C to send theirs to D, and D to send theirs to A.
Oof. Yeah, that gets complicated.
But fortunately it worked. I gave them another 5 minutes to write their reply emails, again sending them to me.
Oh, not to each other. Okay.
So that I could once again share with the group
yeah.
the email.
Makes sense.
We went through them and I asked the students, did the other student reply to the questions that you maybe posed in your first email?
Well, you could actually do that as an open class question to ask all the different students that weren't writing those 2 emails. Did they answer this question? Was this clear? Was there any confusion? That could keep everyone engaged.
Absolutely.
Were your students going along with this quite calmly and happily, or did they look quite horrified at the beginning that you were asking them to do something like that?
They were quite surprised.
I bet they were.
They said, an email? Now?
Yeah.
To you? And I said, yeah.
But that's great, isn't it? That's something that will wake them up a bit, and they will remember that, and you may do it again. I think you will do it again because it sounds great, and I will definitely try that myself.
I think it's called a round robin.
Yeah. But you've always got your go-to also. If you want to go back to other email language, you can do it that way.
Yes, because there were probably a few email phrases and expressions that didn't come up in this activity that I would like to teach my students, or at least check that they know them.
Yeah. Have you had that class quite a long time, or are they a new class?
They're still fairly new.
So are you starting as you mean to go on? Is this going to be the kind of template now that it's always going to be this dynamic, fun approach?
Probably not, because the course will end soon. It's quite a short but intensive course.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, I wanted to make sure that I covered all of the business bases on the course.
But I guess that one was just written as email lesson on your syllabus or your course plan, which, as I say, could be anything, really.
It could be your go-to. It could be something spontaneous that just pops in your head.
Yeah. Great example, Gav. Thanks for that.
Em, have you done anything spontaneous you might be able to share with the group?
Well, as we were discussing a few weeks back, Gav, on the pod, I am working on my spontaneity. It's not something I'm that familiar with or comfortable with, but I'm working on it. So when my student last week said they had a meeting with a Chinese colleague, and my student was a bit worried that they might struggle to understand a Chinese speaker speaking English.
What did you do, Em?
Well, I just, on the spot, said, so I think we need to listen to some people speaking Chinese. No.
That would not help, Em.
Would not help. I think we need to listen to some people speaking English who are Chinese, is what I said. And then I said, so who's the most famous Chinese person you can think of? Who do you think they came up with?
Bruce Lee.
No.
Chairman Mao.
No. Go back to the Bruce Lee idea. Another martial arts actor, famous, funny.
That must be Jackie Chan.
Yeah. So I just Googled, and this was with the students in the lesson, I Googled Jackie Chan interview, and the first one that popped up on the list was Wired. You know the magazine Wired?
I do.
And it was an interview with Jackie Chan, and he was answering Google searches about himself. So the public go to Google, they put in a question about Jackie Chan, and whatever autocomplete comes up on the search bar, he was answering these questions.
Sounds like fun.
It was amazingly fun, and it was perfect in so many ways. It was short, it was concise. The questions were only a minute or so at max.
Can I interrupt you?
Go ahead.
Did you pre-teach any typical errors by Chinese speakers of English?
No, I didn't.
Well, that's an opportunity at the end then.
Yes, it is. And I didn't do any pre-teaching of vocabulary, which you could do if you wanted to, guess what he's going to talk about and what topics and...
Martial arts, kung fu.
Yeah, you could do that. You might want to go into a bit more vocab just to prep. But this was quite a high-level class, so I didn't think there would be a big problem with that. We just watched the video, discussed his answers. It was interesting. It was hilarious. I learned a lot of things I didn't know about Jackie Chan. As I've mentioned before, Gav, it's always risky not vetting these videos beforehand, but I saw that it was very popular and I saw a lot of people had watched it, and it was a recognised website that I am familiar with.
It was a reputable magazine.
Yeah. I think those are the key points if you're going to do something spontaneous. Just check the origin of where it's coming from.
Do you feel that your student got some confidence by the end of that lesson?
100%. At the end of the lesson, the student said, I think I can go to this meeting, no problem now. And of course, Jackie Chan wasn't talking about business-related topics, so it probably would be easier for my student because it would be a topic they were familiar with. So if you can understand Jackie Chan talking about doing triple kicks and growing up in China, I think you can understand a lot of things.
That's a very spontaneous and creative way to introduce your student to an accent, Em. Good work.
And I can also, in the next lesson, go in with some pre-prepared listening that I've found, maybe in a book or with a business topic, and really focus on some more specific language next time.
Better related to the student's requirements. But, Em, let's be honest, it's not going to be as interesting as an interview with Jackie Chan.
Nothing is as interesting as an interview with Jackie Chan. He is hilarious. We'll put a link to the interview in the show notes if anybody wants to check it out.
And possibly use it for their teaching too, or learning. This takes me perfectly, Em, to my next topic. I've been asking myself, Em, what websites does Em typically go to during her teaching time?
You mean lesson? During a lesson?
During a lesson.
I go to YouTube. I go to Wikipedia a lot.
Do you?
Yeah.
I find Wikipedia's a bit heavy.
Are you talking about my own benefit or showing students?
I meant while you're teaching.
Well, it's a lot of things. I might go to Wikipedia just to check a fact. I mean, to be honest, AI just gives you an answer at the top of the page, so I don't always click on any website. So if you're actually asking me, do I go to Wikipedia to read? Sometimes I do, yeah.
During the lesson, while you're actually teaching.
I have been known to.
Are you sharing your screen while you're reading?
Sometimes, yeah.
Is it part of the lesson?
Yeah. If we're talking about a company in a book, like a market leader reading task, and they reference an Italian bag manufacturer, sometimes Google it, because it is a real company, and I want to know if they're still trading, if they went into liquidation, who their CEO is right now. I think it's quite good.
That does make it more real, definitely. What else? Give us some more.
News, so BBC News, Guardian News, CNN, Google Images, a lot. Definitely, if somebody's telling me it's the holiday for the May Day parade and in my town we have a special tree, and then I Google it to see what it looks like, to get the student to describe it a bit more, ask questions about it. And I'll be sharing the whole time so the students can see what I'm looking at and I can ask questions as we go through it.
Do be careful if you put in a Google search for images and something unsavoury might come up.
You have to be very mindful, especially with bird names, for example.
I did teach my students about bird names the other day. For example, a very popular bird in my garden is called the great tit.
Yes. So be careful with that and put bird at the end.
Yes.
The same with thrush. Definitely put bird after that. Do not make the mistake of pressing enter if you're sharing the screen.
For this reason, Em, I am also searching these websites you've mentioned, but I am not sharing with the student most of the time because I would like to be informed on some of the details of the things they describe. For instance, this tree, which might be standing in the centre of their town, may be adorned with various decorations, and I might say to the students, "Oh, I thought those tassels were blue and yellow." And the student says, "Oh, how do you know that? That was last year, but this year we're going to have pink and green."
Well, that's another way of doing it, Gav. I think they're both valid. If you have a picture and you're not sharing it, you can say, well, what are those things hanging down from the top? But then I like to say that in front of the student and say, well, what's that made of? And why is that there? And maybe, get the language out a different way.
Of course, as long as you've got your safe search on.
How do you do that?
I think there's a switch somewhere.
Is there?
On Google, yeah.
Settings or actually on the search bar?
I think it's in the settings.
I'll have to find that then.
In which case you can share as much as you like.
That is a good tip, because even something that seems incredibly innocuous can have some, meme thing going on online that you never even knew about. Have you got any websites to add to the list, Gav?
I do have a favourite grammar website, which I will put in the show notes, which I've been using almost for every homework task. And sometimes for the next lesson, I might say to the students, have you done your homework? And they say,
yes.
No, it was the silence, I think, was more the correct answer.
I thought you were eliciting the answer, but that was just the way it sounds.
Then I say, well, let's have a look now. And I share my screen. We go through the exercise together. But that's also a super duper website.
What's it called, Gav?
It's called test-english.com. And they seem to have a grammar test on practically every form of grammar that I could possibly want to test my students on.
Sounds good.
It is good. And even the sentences are logical.
Ah, nice.
Because I have many times found some terrible example sentences which are completely nonsensical. So thanks to those teachers out there uploading their own ideas.
They can be a bit weird, but I think there is some psychology behind it. We don't need to get into it now.
No. Also, the BBC have plenty of resources on there that I use from time to time.
TED Talks, they're good. They've got little mini ones now. TED Ed, I think they're called. So you can just do a 5-minute thing.
And from time to time, I might open my Spotify app and then say, hey, you're really interested in bodybuilding? Have you checked out these podcasts? And I might search for bodybuilding podcasts and then we listen to some clips together just to get my student interested.
Nice. Google Translate, I use that a lot. And the pronunciation feature on that, which is quite good. And of course, students' companies' websites are always really good resources. So you can often see the English version or their own language version. You can get them to translate from their own language. There's a lot you can do with them.
Especially in the first lesson, I like to use that resource.
Yeah, that is a really good first lesson.
Thanks, Em, for telling me all about your favourite websites while teaching.
You're welcome, Gav. Are we done here?
Sounds like you're done. You're cooked. I'm going to put a fork in you.
Gav, you don't put a fork in me. The phrase is, I'm done, put a fork in me. Not you're done, I'm going to put a fork in you. That's weird.
Do you put a fork in yourself?
The phrase is, put a fork in me, I'm done. You don't put a fork in me.
No, you're probably right. I probably shouldn't do that.
Probably. I think definitely I'm right, yes.
But I might add some coffee to the end of the show.
ko-fi.com/howtoenglishpod.
If you would like to send forks or possibly coffee our way.
Can't really put sugar in your coffee with a fork.
No.
I don't take any sugar, but I do drink tea, so your coffee donation will be much appreciated.
Your time was much appreciated, and I'm sure the followers are thinking the same.
Likewise, Gav.
Thanks, Em.
It was a pleasure chatting to you as always.
Well, I will speak to you again next time on Gav and Em's How to English, Teach English as a Foreign Language pod.
Till next time.